Real World's Whitetail Soybeans, the only full-season soybean blend on the market to give your whitetails the nutrition they need all season. This orange steak's where we planted our competitor variety here, and on this side is our beans. What I wanted to show you here is if you look, a lot of these pods are just 1 or 2 bean pods on a joint and just 2 small beans, maybe 1 bean or 2 beans in a pod. Very few of them have 3 beans. But very few pods and bean seeds on these plants. These leaves are starting to turn yellow too. I mean, once the frost hits, they'll all turn yellow and fall off, so then that protein source is gone. We've already showed you too in some comparisons how bean leaves, our competitors versus ours, are the same protein source, almost identical in calcium, relative feed value is close to the same. There is not much difference in all the bean plants that we tested in the leaves as far as what the deer's eating and the nutrition value for it. But the point that we're trying to make with our soybeans is once this is all gone, you got very few bean pods and seeds for them to eat on here. Let me just grab a few of these plants here and show you the difference of what a bean plant. Now these are highly shadow resistant beans, meaning these bean pods won't open up and dump these bean seeds out on the ground. But look at the number of pods on these bean plants to give plenty of high protein source for late winter versus something like this, which isn't going to have very many bean pods, and the deer eat them off real quick. There's some of these pods here only have 1 or 2 in a bean pod, 1 or 2 bean seeds. This one's got several of them that's got 4. A lot of them, about all of them's got 3. Even up here at the top, you got 3 beans in most of these pods. And also these plants, when sitting on the ground, are up to almost chest high. These beans were all planted first week of June.
The reason I like soybeans so well is because in the winter, when the deer really need a prime food source, they're high in protein, high in fat and energy, and the worse the weather gets, the more the deer will flock to them. The biggest problem we encountered with trying to put together a soybean blend for food plots was that once a soybean plant matures, a lot of varieties have a tendency where the pod will shatter open and drop the soybean onto the ground. And we tested over 60 varieties of soybeans looking for those varieties that were shatter resistant. In other words, the pod would stay closed and the bean would stay in the pod and into the winter when the deer could utilize it.
When considering soybeans in your food plots, we caution you to not get caught up in the hype surrounding forage soybeans. Real World soybeans have proven to have the same levels of protein and other nutrients as forage soybeans. The big difference is during the hunting season and beyond, when Real World soybeans will have a much higher yield of shatter resistant soybeans to provide a quality food source for your deer when they need it the most.